morning everybody, and welcome back to learning about that time when Nintendo attempted to make building blocks. I use that term very loosely, but anyway, to explain, if you're like me and you spend a lot of time Googling LEGO Zelda to check out the newest mocks and to see if any set announcements have been made, which of course there haven't, this is something that would pop up a lot in the shopping bar at the top of Google. And that is because around 2013 to 15, Nintendo released this line with their partner company for toys, Jakk, who they still work with for some products today, to release these World of Nintendo sets. And they were based around this little square module here. Now, I've been staring at these for a very long time, and November this year, I decided, fine, let's discover what they're about. And let's see if they're anything to do with the reason we hadn't had LEGO sets. And to some extent, I believe they might be. Not a very large extent, of course. They're very different, and obviously, as we know, 2015 was the year that they approached LEGO to start work on the Mario partnership, so there can't have been too much of a problem here. But anyway, they released this range of sets. I'm going to put them up on the screen for you now, and this is the biggest. This is all based off Wind Waker. This is the Outset Island deluxe set. And it was deluxe because it included a couple of extra parts, and those were the reasons I bought the deluxe set and not the normal one. I bought this used off eBay. I've also bought a couple of the character expansions, so we're going to take a look at all of them, discover what these were about, and then do some comparisons to the LEGO models and decide which is superior, because I definitely think this is an important part of LEGO Zelda history for something that hasn't happened yet, of course, and this is one of the earlier iterations by a completely different company. So, to start off, in the bigger set, you usually got one character. Here we have Outset Island Link. We'll take a closer look at him in a second. And then you've got some tiles as well. And the idea is that these connect together like puzzle pieces or Lego, and then you can create a landscape. And there were sea sets with the King of Red Lions, there were Outset Island sets, and then there were Ganon's Tower sets. So, let's take a look at the individual components and then put them all together. One thing I have noticed is they're a bit harder to actually get apart. So in the deluxe Outset Island set, we get two of these beach tiles. So nice Outset Island beaches to put along the front. As you can see, made of plastic. You've got your 2014 copyright on there. I assume they made in advance. And your big copyright logos, which is one thing you're going to see a lot of in these sets. This thing is obnoxious. Anyway, so you get two of those. They're identical. They've got a nice bit of texture on them, which is cool. Then you get this piece here, and this is like a little path on Outset Island, and you get the wonderful post box. This is exclusive to the deluxe set, I believe, and I really wanted to have these elements, so this was a big part of it for me. Or maybe this one isn't exclusive. Is it with Stonite? Anyway, you've got the Rito post box. You can't put anything in there, but it's really nicely sculpted. It's got all of this wood texture on it. Along the top, it feels really good. It's wedged in there solid. You've got a little path which is painted on the top, and then you've got two of these bushes as well for our Link to come along and chop, except for he doesn't have a sword in this set. So we've got that tile. Then working up in size, we have this other one here. So this is scenery. Obviously this is one of the big stone heads which you can lift for the power bracelets. I believe this one would hold the Savage Labyrinth. Obviously it's not up on a cliff. And we've got one of these lovely Outset Island trees, which again, nice and firmly in there. Him too. I think he's potentially hollow, but you can see they're just rammed in here. There is no assembly or choice of where you get to put these. They are rooted into these things. They come in a big plastic thing where they are just stuck there in 3D. He's really cool. He's incredibly sculpted. He looks exactly like the game model, which is why I think they chose Wind Waker for this stuff, because of the cartoony aspect. But he's fantastic. As a fan of Wind Waker, I'm really glad that I have this as like an accurate model, obviously in a play scale. It suits my genre perfectly. And then here we have one of the Outset Island houses, and this is the one with the moving components. So each of the sets had at least one thing that could move, and in this case, it's the opening to the house. And then you can walk our good old pal in there and shut the door on him. And this is where this one actually stays, because you'll see in a minute. You've got the roof here as well, and it's got a little bit of path down the front here as well. It's all raised up on the platform. I don't know if you can see that, but there's almost like this metallic-y colouring to the base here, which I think must have been printed. And then the rest is brown plastic with yellow like the straw. So again, really cute, really accurate. So the whole concept is that you connect these together. I'm going to line up the paths, although they don't quite match up. and you expand your world. So then let's have a little beach here along the front. And then if we take our Link out of here, no, and he's not coming out of there, so I guess he's stuck in it. So you can play around with this, and I think the idea is you buy multiple sets and connect them together. However, as you'll see, the things that are most interesting are the characters, and they are spread out across sets which don't come with these tiles. So there's some limitations there, although you do get the Great Sea ones, which would be, I guess, kind of cool to expand out Ice Island. I guess you would buy more and more and more, and they'd get there, but that would get expensive very quickly. So you don't get particularly much for your money here, although I suppose it is a play canvas, just like any other Lego set or anything like that. So this is all good and well not. Let's take a look at some of the character packs. So they sold 3 character packs. The first one was the Outset Island one, so this came with 3 characters and nothing else. So you've got Grandma, Errol, and the exact same Link from the starter set. So this was not the reason I bought these characters. I probably could have happily skipped on this one, although these 2 are pretty cool. So we use this opportunity to take a look at the figures up close. So if it wasn't clear, these guys are tiny. You've got Toon Link here, wearing his Lobster Island shirt, and you can see he's got a big smile on. He's stretching out and his eyes are up in like in love of my island life. And I suppose you could also lay him down flat as well, and it look like he's sleeping. The Outpost actually does come in another one of these sets, which I'm sure by now I've put on my screen at least once. His hair almost has like a translucent quality to it, which is really weird, but he's incredibly detailed, a completely different stylistic approach to Lego. I mean, obviously this is not what a figure looks like at all, but I wouldn't say by any means more detailed. Now, they are a lot smaller. I'll bring in a minifigure here to compare. So here is my custom Link, and you can see, so I assume most of you will have one of these guys. He is about half as tall, so coming up about halfway on a normal pair of legs and a torso. And sometimes if they're a little bit taller, he'll come up to the top. He's probably about average height to the others. I'll leave him here so that we can compare. But this is your Lobster Island Link. Fantastic looking. I think they did a really good job sculpting him. Sometimes he doesn't like to stand up, but that could be my flooring. However, there we go. We'll try and get them all stood up. Then we have Errol, who is potentially one of the best looking. You've got all of that lovely face detail, a really solid yellow headpiece. And once again, you can see the bane of my existence, the copyright logo. This appears on 1 character per pack. So in this packet, they chose Errol. And my oh my, if it was any higher, it would just be visible from the top. I don't know why it needs this. I understand these here. This makes more sense to me, although I don't like how prominent the black writing is. This here, Jack's China. I can understand that, right? That's the company's branding. I don't know why they need the rest of it. Anyway, she's really cool. She's got her hand up in a thing like going, hey, hoi. And she's got the flower on the dress. She's a perfect addition. She's part of our main cast, of course, and nicely populates the island. Here, thank goodness, Grandma has nothing on the back of her head. You've got the great Bob style, and she's got her arms around the back, and she looks suitably happy but old, and she's got the accurate printing from the game. Again, no more detail than a figure could get, but I suppose the benefit is they actually are proportioned. So that was the first set of 3 that I picked up, and I managed to pick all 3 of the character pack sets you're about to see up in a job lot on eBay, which for cheaper, because I didn't want to pay Nintendo aftermarket prices for this stuff. So the second set is, none of these have names, I'm creating this, but the Hero of the Sea set, as I'm going to call it. So we get 3 characters again, Ganondorf, the King, and Tetra. So we'll start with Tetra. And you can see here, very similar to the Link model, you've got all of the details, like the cutlass and the neckerchief and the yellow hair. Again, weirdly different to both Errol's and Link's, in the fact that this one is printed on over this darker flesh tone here. And you can definitely tell the colour's completely different. Oops, and she is gone forever. Bringing her back here, you've got the trousers as well and the shoes. And the printing all around is accurate again. So she has the normal logo instead of the really obtrusive one. So let's get her standing up. And now that I've done that, take a look at the second one, which is the King. And he looks pretty much perfect. Obviously not in his boat form. He's got the sea. I mind this less because it's on the back of a fairly big character's robes rather than on the top of Errol's head. Face is a bit of a weird colour. It's a bit ghost-like instead of the flesh tones I'd expect. But he looks fantastic from all angles, really does. He's a bit larger than the others as well. So if we put him next to a figure, you can see he comes up to the neck. Although again, still very, very tiny. And he pairs very well with Ganondorf as well, because they're about the same size, which I suppose makes sense, because as the King of Red Lions, he's sort of a good and evil one. Anyway, we'll put her next to Tetra. If I give the packs any credit, it's that the characters in them make sense, and you do get a complete cast by the end. So here we have Ganondorf, whose face is potentially the strangest, with the eyes have not got pupils in them, so he looks a bit demonic. He's got a big cheesy grin. He's got all of his printing. Mine's a little bit off center, but I haven't really noticed that up until now. He's got all of the major details. Again, the Wind Waker simplicity really owns itself to these kind of figures, because once again, he's only the height of legs and torso on a figure. You've got that wonderful pattern on the back, which is obviously so iconic. All of his headdresses and stuff. And I have to say, I'm sort of being won over. I mean, I don't love the connectability, and obviously I'd prefer if they were official LEGO, but as an alternative, they're incredibly detailed, and really they provide a lot of value for a shelf display. Yeah, obviously bigger action figures, more expensive, whatever, but they're cute for the price. These would have been good for kids and provide a lot of playability if they stood up more. There are definitely some things where I think LEGO shines out more. So here's our third set, and this is basically the Wind Temple, I guess. Now, this is the one that not many people know about. This was released later in like a second wave, I believe. And this was by far the one I was most interested in. Because I knew I wanted the deluxe set of Outset Island, it means I wasn't going to get Link in his hero's tunic, his most iconic garb. So it was really important to me that I got him in some way, whether that meant buying the King of Red Lions set he's in, or whether this one. And in the end, this one won out because of the other two figures. Getting the Bokoblin and then also Makar is super, super cute. But taking a look at him, you've got the shield here, a bit discoloured. Obviously, this is quite old now. You've got the white of his tunics as well as his shoes. And then his little sword as well. And once again, completely different hair colour to everyone else. And the hat coming back. And he's got a nice frowny face on. Really, really cool looking. Let's add him back here. And he stands up. He's in an action pose. I much prefer him over the Sleepy Link, which of course I have two of. And you're taking a look at the Bokoblin. He's got these little rubbery arms. You can see his little face there, looking meanly down the nose. His teeth hanging up. You've got the bandana and the horn, and his little tail around the back. Fantastically molded. This group of three is definitely my favorite, just from the detail and the character choice, really. But he looks absolutely great. So I think release weight, this was like the fourth set of characters. And then finishing off is Makar, and let's get the annoying part out of the way. Why did they choose him? It takes up his entire back, and it's awful. But beyond that, the face looks absolutely perfect. I'm so glad that the printing's okay on this. Kind of wish he had the striping on his body. He's sort of the right colour as well. But he is dinky tiny. He's got his tail and his two legs and his little arms. He's perfect. I kind of wish there was a medley, but I like Makar more anyway. So I'm glad to have him here. And he's obviously the smallest out of all of them. And I suppose from that perspective, he's most similar to the Lego piece I designed for him, where he would have been about this size, just sat on a stud. So only coming up to just above the waist, probably a bit higher on the Lego piece. But it's pretty much exactly what I wanted for him as a Koroks. So that's absolutely fantastic. So let's try and make a little scene. Let's try and act out what some kids will do, and then I'll bring in some other comparisons as well. Because, to be honest, this isn't half bad. It's incredibly weird. I don't know what they were thinking, why they didn't just partner with some other company to produce weird tiny figures with a less functioning system that only lasted about a year. So I suppose we should put the king. Oh, there's a little bit of uplift here. The king and Ganondorf fighting out on the beach, and he's about to get kicked in the steam, become the King of Red Lions, which is the only important part that I think I'm missing. Let's get Sleepy Link on the floor over here, and let's put Arrow waving on the beach and Grandma up at the house. Oh, is she going to stay? Nope, she's not. She is by far the least balanced. Let's put her off to the side. Let's put the Bokoblin going to attack the small child. Always good. And then let's move her back a bit, actually. And let's send Link to fight him off there. We'll put Makar on the post box because I don't know why he's here to begin with. And then we've got Tetra coming in to the side here. Cool. I mean, I've got way too many characters for it, but that's just a little bit of fun. Okay, time for the last couple of comparisons. So obviously here I have my Link and my custom King of Red Lions. Obviously I don't have the King of Red Lions to compare to, but we could put them on the boat. Why not? Much too small for this, but That's cute all the same, I guess. I wouldn't say that these are highly compatible. So if we put it next to my custom of the same name, about half height, incredibly more accurate, but then again, this is accurate. This is a purist custom and also based off Skyward Sword. So of course it's going to be very different. I thought I'd also bring in the Lego Mario alternative as well. So again, these guys are not the same scale at all. You've got this Bob-omb, which is the size of a nearly 7-foot human, potentially, which is terrifying. But, you know, I thought I'd bring it in here, another Nintendo toy. And then something else made by Jakk specific for the Mario line. We have their 12 centimeter tall dry bones, which is made by Jakk Specific, the same company that Nintendo had to do this for Mario, but this is actually modern. Don't ask why he's holding a Lego lampshade. I thought it'd be funny. Yeah, turns out they can hold bar connections, and he's just a highly posable figure. But just to show you the comparison, again, more plasticky, I guess, more toy-like. But we actually have the Lego dry bones as well, don't we? So he's pretty cool. I thought he would fit in the Jakk Specific lineup. So, leaving you with this train wreck on the scene, this was that time that Nintendo attempted to do Zelda toys themselves, and I think it wasn't an unmitigated disaster. While, of course, this is not what we want, and the brand synergy between LEGO and Zelda would just make stuff like this better if they were. But what makes this stand out is the fact that they didn't just do a play set, they made these combinable landscapes. And that's curious to me is because it's what so many Lego lines do. It's about connectable things, and clearly the internet agrees by the fact that every time you Google Lego Zelda, this shows up as one of the options for shopping, or it did back when I was looking between 2015 and 2019 or wherever. I haven't seen it in a while pop up, but they've always caught my eye from a distance, and I've always wanted to own one just to see what they were like, and I always have associated them as that thing Nintendo did that probably meant that Zelda sets couldn't happen, or even if they could still happen, that it was something they had chosen to do separately. It always struck me as their attempt at LEGO Zelda, even though there is basically no similes. So I thought I'd take you through them today and see what you guys thought. I hate this, by the way. And we've got a little guy in there. And now that you've got Chaos on your table, let me know what you thought down below. And in the meantime, we'll be back with a custom set showcase next week. Thank you so much for watching, and have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye-bye.